All right, cool. So how's everyone doing? Hopefully everyone has been able to run through the pipeline and play around a little bit with Docker. So today we're gonna um, I think it was a lot of reading last time. Maybe let's spend extra 20 minutes for people to finish their reading. If you haven't finished, I'm most sure people didn't finish their reading for like 40 pages within an hour. So let's maybe spend 20 more minutes or 30 minutes to finish that. And then, so I managed to debug one error that we had. So I was able to successfully deploy the model on AI platform. And but right now I'm trying to debug how I can directly push the model, not manually but directly publish it from the pipeline. And I've had this error called JWT invalid signature. And I've been basically Googling around with that. So this is kind of where I am trying to push this, but got this error. And so I'm trying to basically see if I can solve this. In addition, so, but it could be a, I don't know, an authentication. I mean, it is an authentication error because this probably comes from the OAuth 2. And uh, so so it could be that I need to use Kubeflow pipelines in order to push the model into the AI platform. But I don't know. I don't know for sure. Uh, so that's kind of where I am. As you can see, I'm also in the process of just, continuously debug the entire pipeline. And I just saw this TensorFlow. Um, TensorFlow is now officially on 1.0. So they're happy to announce that this is available, um, and it's the stable release. It's the post beta release. So TFX was on beta release. That's why we see a lot of different changes and incompatibility. And perhaps, we should try to upgrade our TFX and migrate or change a little bit on our code in order to adapt to the stable release. But we'll see about that. I remember Pandas was on 0.24 for like forever before they upgraded to 1.0. So, but Pandas worked just fine, right? And when I was 0.24, 25, 23, whatever. But now you can be sure that your future TFX pipelines will keep working after an upgrades within the compatibility scope defined in this RFC. So now we have TFX 1.0. And what's very, so what's cool is I just saw this basically. Now we have this component that's called bulk infer, because I was trying to find out how we can infer directly from the pipeline level. And now there's this component called bulk infer TFX component, and it can perform batch inference on unlabeled data that generate inference results, contains the original features and the prediction results. So this is something that we can use, and that's how you call it, and with a bunch of parameters specified here. And yeah, so I'm sure there's a way to incorporate this directly with a model deployed on, let's say, AI platform. So that's that. So I'm certainly going to try this one out after today's session, and I'll definitely keep you folks posted on that. On that note, so let's spend the next 20 minutes or so um, to finish our reading. Um, maybe 30 minutes if everyone needs that, or 20 minutes. What do you guys think?
Why don't we start with 20 minutes and then we can do a check.
All right, so let's 20 minutes. I'm gonna go finish my dinner, and I'll be back in 20 minutes.
All right, folks, how are we doing?
Good. I'm back.
Do we need a few more minutes? Which I guess we can begin. Just keep going.
All right, cool. Let's get started. Okay, so where we left off was we were trying to basically talk about some Docker commands, and also we're trying to basically deploy our model on GCP. So why don't we do this? Let's let's try to basically all deploy a model on the GCP platform, and hopefully you guys at this point have already set up a GCP account and is ready to do this. Okay, so looks like I just, 1 second. All right, so let me start sharing my screen. Oops. I just, okay. Sorry, the computer is telling me it's out of memory. I'm on my old machine for this project. 1 second. All right. Just share my screen really quick. Okay, so are you guys able to, does everyone have their own account pretty much? Please say yes if you do on the chat. Okay.
Yes.
All right, cool. So first of all, the problem that we had was probably a change on Google's end. Maybe they rolled out the new service Vertex AI pipeline, so maybe they changed something. But it was an IAM issue. So first of all, you need to go to IAM and admin. Okay. And just go to service account. So what I would do is create a service account and just type in, consumer complaints, whatever, service, and just type in the description. This is service for consumer complaint prediction. Create. And you need to basically create a row, and you can just say ML engine admin. That will give you full access to Cloud ML engine. And you can click continue. And you can just say done. Okay, so I just literally created another service row. Okay, called consumer complaints service 780. 780 because I used exactly the same name, so it's now 780. I think to avoid duplicates. Okay, and what you need to do is basically go to cloud storage.
Which service agent again?
Cloud storage. Cloud storage, is that what you were asking?
No, before that, when you were setting up the service account, when you grant this service account access to project, I guess it's optional.
Oh yeah, ML engine admin.
ML engine admin.
The rows, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you click into this, you might be able to see that. 1 second, show domain navigation, permissions, oh, it probably show under IAM. Yeah, so ML engine admin, and it will show 2 of those service accounts under this one row. And this just gives you basically full access to ML engine. That would include cloud, Google Cloud AI platform. All right, so go to cloud storage. And I think if you first doing cloud storage, maybe there's some API, I don't know, but just enable everything. If it's asking you to enable something, which is an API, and if it's not, you're good. I forgot what it was initially. But what you need to do is create a bucket and just call it consumer complaints model storage. And this is globally unique. So I would say, 06/02/2021. I already created based on that. So I'm just going to be 06/01/2021. Continue. And it will ask you choose where to store your data. This permanent choice defines geographic placement of your data. And I just basically picked multi-region, which is highest availability. And across largest area. And dual region is across 2 areas. Region is low latency within a single region. And you have the location, US. So I would just, have the default options. Choose a default storage class for data. I would just say standard. And choose how to control access to objects. I just basically say uniform. And choose how to advanced settings. I keep it pretty much the same. Google managed encryption key, no configuration needed. So I'm not gonna mess around with Google Cloud Key Management Service. Keep it simple. All right, now the bucket is being created. And what you need to do is sorry, does someone have their mic open? All right, so what you need to do is upload folder. Okay, so I had a serving model folder. You should upload them. I don't have it now, but you should upload your model from the serving model directory folder. Or, I mean, you could just do this, push the model. So I guess I had two of them, but literally just have this push the model. And if it's under serving model directory, it should be the folder that's called consumer complaint pipeline. So upload this entire folder. And the idea is that that folder should contain all your versions of models. So this push model would have two versions, 9 or 8. I don't know how they name it, but the idea is you want to push this entire folder rather than this 9 or 8. But if you have the serving model directory, again, this will be named as the consumer complaint pipeline. And underneath that, it's different versions of models and versions as timestamps. So you'll be pushing that to the Google AI cloud storage, Google Cloud Storage, not Google AI. All right, so I'm gonna push this push model. Upload 17 files to the site, yes. Okay, so now I have a push the model folder underneath the consumer complaint model storage 0601-2021. And, you know, ignore this DS store file. Oops,
Let's see.
uploading.
Wenchan.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, I just wanted to ask what the size was you had, because I had in the variables data was about a gigabyte. Just wanted to check if that's correct.
Yeah, so it's same thing here. It's still uploading.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And I have the other one, this one, 0602. So this one is, oops, shit. All right. I have this consumer complaint pipeline, and I have this 162.207.8540. Okay, that was the timestamp when the model was created, basically. All right, so it looks like I need to close off my Google Chrome again. Let me stop my sharing.
I give Wenchang a hard time over memory issues on his computer because I know we have all been there.
Yeah, yep. Well, I bought this several years ago, so it's 128 gigabytes. Yeah, and as you can see, each of the pipeline is what, like 3 gigabytes already. If you run through it once, that's 3 gigabytes. Run through it twice, another 3 gigabytes. So this folder or this project could easily, I don't know, 10 gigabytes to 20 gigabytes. If you're storing every pipeline component output in your local folder, so it quickly adds up. All right, so share my screen again. All right, are you guys able to upload this? Still uploading. Okay. All right. So while it's being uploaded, let's try to create a model. Okay. So let's go to Google Cloud Platform. Okay. So let's go back to the Google Cloud Platform and go to AI platform. So if you don't have this paint, it will be somewhere below that. Below there, it will be big data right here, artificial intelligence. So Vertex AI now is on top, and AI platform is second. And under AI platform, we need to go to models. And press new model. Okay. And just say consumer complaints, classifier. I already had it, so I'm just going to say 2. You can do dash, so it has to be underscore. Okay, and you can use regional endpoints. A regional endpoint provides additional protection for your model against outages in other regions. And so it's I guess it's already a default option. It's already selected. And I just basically chose US Central 1. I guess you can choose other regions as well. But it's good to choose where you are, right? You don't want to choose a region that's in Europe, then your machine, it's good to choose where your service is or your server is, rather than pick, somewhere in Asia or Europe if you're based in the United States. But if you're in Asia, then maybe choose somewhere in Asia rather than US. Okay. You can enable logging and console logging, and you can just click create. Okay, so as you can see, I already created, and when you click into it, okay, you can say new version. You need to create a version of model which corresponds to the version of model you have on your local laptop right now. So just click new version. And this is where you put in the new version, v something, right? So for me, it was basically, let me just grab this. So for me, it was that I had to delete this. So, and we would need to use pre-built containers. And this is, you can view the supported runtimes, including TensorFlow, Scikit-learn, PyTorch versions. So we basically, it has pre-built containers that has, these packages.
To maintain some kind of standard container for just running very traditional models. Not any custom packages being added in, like you had mentioned last week.
Yeah, then you would need to have, a customized Docker container, and you need to create your own container image in the artifact registry, and you need to enable that API as well. So you could do that, basically containerize your model. But you could just also use pre-built containers, right? So if you're using something like TensorFlow, And pretty much, I think, most of the people are using TensorFlow, Scikit-learn, and PyTorch for models. But, if you're using MXNet or, something else, some other libraries like FastAI to train your models, then, you might want to have a custom container. Okay. Oops. It has Python version 2.7, 3.5, 3.7. We want to select 3.7. Well, if you have 3.5, well, I think our setup says we have at least 3.7, right? So, yeah. So requires Python larger or equal to 3.7. So we're just going to basically say 3.7, even though I used 3.8.4 as a Python version. The framework, again, TensorFlow, obviously, framework version, we're using the latest TensorFlow version 2.4.0. The runtime version, ML runtime version, I think this is probably the platform version, but we only have one option, that's 2.4. Okay, and I think TensorFlow 2.4 is only like 2.4, something like that. And yes, so if you choose like TensorFlow 2.1, then you have like 2.1 here. Let's see, yeah, 1.15. Okay, so this kind of matches with the TensorFlow version. All right, so this is where you need to point to your model. So basically what it means is that AI platform only serves your model, but your model needs to store somewhere, right? And this is where you specify your cloud storage that we previously created. Okay, so hopefully you have this cloud storage or cloud bucket ready. And you need to browse and click into that. So I'm going to click into this. And you're not deploying, you need to click one more time. So this is where basically selecting the version. So not to this entire pipeline folder, but to this version. Okay, and not one level down either, but literally here. Okay, so selecting the versions, it could be many versions that you have, but selecting the version you want and just press select. And now we can say online prediction deployment. Do we want it manual scaling? Do we want auto scaling? We want auto scaling. So this is something that we say, hey, if someone if your model is being used by a lot of people, then it can automatically scale for you. And this is where, the devil always hides in details. So minimum number of nodes, that means it used to be 0, which means if you're not using it, it's not costing you money. If it's, if you still have it, if you still have the model deployed. But right now it's 1, so they changed it to 1, which means there's always a node running to serve your model. Okay. And it says keep your number running all the time, will avoid dropping requests due to node initialization after service is scaled down. The setting can increase cost as you pay for the nodes, even when no predictions are served. This is very costly if you don't turn it off. I think for 1 month, I had to pay like $100, and I had to call Google. $100, $200, something like that, just to have one node running for like a month. It was $100 to $200, something like that. Okay, very expensive. Make sure you turn this off. Okay, so make sure you turn this off when we're done. Machine type, I just basically used CPU, and I think you need to somehow request to get GPUs for some reasons. But AI platform does not provide you GPU options, at least not under here. So we're just gonna basically choose the standard four core CPU with 15 gigabytes memory. And that's pretty much what my laptop is. Accelerator type. And let's look at, based on the model region, the machine type selected, available accelerator types, and number of accelerators can be selected. All right, so we can have Tesla T4, accelerator count. Now this is where the tricky part comes in. So if I select 780, okay.
And do we need an accelerator here? I think the CPU will be.
We don't. Yeah. It's up to you. Yeah.
Yep.
And you can just select save. So I think this is going to give me an error, but this error is important. And you might get an error as well, but right now it's running. Okay, it's being deployed. So let's give it a second. But while it's running, I want to ask if everyone has been able to keep up, and if there are any questions and stuff. Okay, I'll take that as a yes. So let's give this a second. While I guess while it's doing that, let me see if we can talk a little bit about Docker. Yes, DPI, yes. The answer is yes. You would have to wait. Okay, it's still running. Okay, so I think it's gonna take a little bit of time, but it's not gonna be successful anyway. So I think it should give me an error as I'm not using the right service account. Okay, but let me see if I have Docker running. Okay, so I have Docker running. Let me share my screen. So hopefully you have Docker up as well. And previously we were trying to basically pull some images, and I literally ran out of space pulling the other GPU TensorFlow serving. So let's pull something that's smaller, TensorFlow serving. And we talked, about some of the simple Docker commands, right? So let me give you a quick recap if you don't remember. So Docker container, right now it wouldn't have anything, right? Because I don't have any containers running. I just only pulled an image, but I should have an image, right? Because I just pulled it. It says TensorFlow serving latest. That's the tag. And tag usually means version, okay? So it means the latest version. And I have my image ID, and the size, it's 400 megabytes. So the other one is about 2 or 3 gigabytes, TensorFlow serving latest GPU. So I'm not gonna pull that. And let's try to delete it. Docker remove. So RMI is the remove image, okay? And you need to basically either copy paste the image ID or just type in the first 3 letters. That's good enough. It says untagged, untagged, deleted, deleted, deleted. Okay, so now we just deleted our image. Let's see if this is good. Has anyone been able to deploy this? Seems like it's taking slow on my end.
Let's see, I got an error saying failed to add IAM policy binding.
Yeah, so that's the exact error that I was trying to solve last time. Oh, for some reason, I was just able to do that. All right, so maybe I selected, I don't know what happened, but maybe I selected the right permission or service account. But anyway, the way how you solve this error is basically you need to go back to, I literally start at this error for like 5 minutes, and I was like, what the heck is going on? So, and if you read it literally, you kind of realize what's going on. You need to add something to something, and so it's missing a row, right? Which is IAM service account admin row. Okay, okay, that's something we know. And all right, and let's go back to our service account. Service accounts. Permissions. So, because I probably created at the same name, that's why I was able to run through. So what you need to do is you need to copy paste the Cloud ML service account in your error message. Was that David?
Yeah. So I have the service.
So basically, you need to copy this, the first one, not the second one. The second one is the one that you created.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what you need to do is grant access and literally copy paste that cloud ML. So that cloud ML is actually an email address. So what happens is Google uses these email addresses as a service member to represent service members. So you need to add that as a service member. New members.
Okay, yeah, that comes up.
And exactly. So then you need to select the service account admin. And I also added like, what else did I add? Let me see.
Admin.
Cloud ML service agent. So I also added this just to be safe. And once you added that, you press save. So add 2 rows.
Mm-hmm.
And for this account, for this, and that's what the error meant. And for some reasons, you know, it was not there. This error was not there a couple months ago when I tried it, and it was not very easy or straightforward to solve it. But you need to add this as a member, quote unquote member, and grant access to your service account admin. All right, so then go back to your AI platform, the model.
Okay.
What you need to do is delete the previous version and create a new version. And do the same thing, you know, name it, select pre-built container. You don't have to type in the description, and select the Python version 3.7, framework TensorFlow 2.4, and point to the cloud storage bucket that we were talking about. And do the same thing for the prediction deployment. Now, this time, if you hit save, and make sure you hit the, not the cloud ML, and it wouldn't even show up here. Just select the same service account that you originally created, because the other cloud ML service member was basically only added to this service account. So, so that email address or that member now has access to your service account, which you created, and it has admin access row or service account admin access to your service account. So that was an additional step that I had to debug. So now select this and you hit save. You should be able to go through it now. And it will take a little bit of time this time as you deploy the entire model. Okay, now let me delete some of my stuff. All right. And if you keep, so notice it says default. That means this is the one that's being served. Okay, and the default version is the one that's being served. And if you try to call this, you specify the version as well. right here. But right now, this one would say default. And if you have, more versions created here, and it probably, I think it will pick up, it might try to pick up the latest version. I'm not 100% sure, but, or you could set the default version maybe. If it's possible, set as default, yes. So, which means probably if I don't specify the version, it will try to predict from the default version. Okay, and let me dig into this model a little bit by showing some of the details. And I will say now the model we created is called consumer complaint classifier as we named it. And the model location, as you can see, it's under the storage, Google Cloud Storage bucket. It's 0602-2021 consumer complaint pipeline. And it's this folder, okay? The creation time, the Python version, TensorFlow 2.4.0, runtime 2.4, M1 standard 4, accelerator, and so on and so forth. Okay, and if you start doing predictions, it will have predictions charts right here, and respond and requests model latency into. So there's some monitoring that you can do, model monitoring you can do from here. Okay, but obviously it's not very comprehensive. All right, so let's click on this. Resource usage, CPU usage, memory usage, network bytes sent, network bytes received. All right, so that's more monitoring statistics of, I guess, the memory being used for your model. And because obviously your container is deployed somewhere, right? And it's deployed somewhere on a server. It's just you're not managing that server. So that's basically telling you, hey, what kind of resources and how much it's using. And some evaluation. Or am I not able to click that? Okay, I'm not able to click evaluation, and some tests and use. Now, this is if you click this sample prediction request. And so you can make predictions with gcloud, CLI, okay? And I'll teach you guys how to set up gcloud in a little bit. Okay, but you also have a Python option to for a prediction. So what I would do is, that's basically what I copy paste from. And I basically just put it here. And of course you need to have OS environment and so on and so forth. So I was not able to predict yet, as I don't have, I realized, oh shoot, now, because previously I was able to run through the prediction, and I was like, and I realized, well, now we're using TensorFlow transform. So I need to figure out a way to get the transform data and predict on that. Then I searched, hey, maybe is there a way to infer the data in an easier way when you're using TFX pipeline? Then I realized now there is this bulk inferer. So I'm gonna just try this, to be honest. I think this might be easier. But I still need to figure out how to integrate this with the AI platform. So Because right now, I think this code is just basically inferring from the model that's outputted by the trainer and taking the example gen.outputs examples. So I wish they had more tutorials integrating with the AI platform. So that's that. Okay, so David, is your model deployed?
Let's see, it's still spinning up right now.
That's probably right. So it took me like 5-10 minutes to deploy the model, and it just takes a while to do that. And you can try this not only with TFX pipeline, right? Any TensorFlow models can be deployed on AI platform. And then you can use this code to predict for your TensorFlow, models, because then you have the, pre-processing steps, right? Not within the pipeline. Then you can just apply the pre-processing steps. So that's how we used to do it. It's just now we're trying to use TFX pipeline, so things are a little bit complex on that end. And you just need to specify your project ID. So make sure you have the project ID, not the project. Okay, that was when we had the hands-on ML class. I was trying to help someone to debug, and we realized we didn't use project ID, we used project name. So there is a difference. For me, the project name is the same as project ID, but for the other person, it was different. So make sure you use the project ID, not the project name. Okay, and the region of your model, which is US Central 1. So you can get some of the information right here. And your model name is Consumer Complaint Classifier. Okay, that's the model. In your version is the version that you can specify, and which you created earlier on. And instances is your test data. And it needs to be a list. Yeah, so if this wasn't running on TFX pipeline, I should have been able to run through this, but right now, I still need to get the transformed data.
Nice, yeah, so it just went green, so it looks like it's good.
Looks like it's great, great, yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
So that is, you basically just deploy your model. So great on, good job on that. So, all right. So, anyone else has any troubles, questions up to this point?
Let's see. And where did you get the code that you're running in your notebook from?
Yeah. So, I mean, I changed it a little bit, but not much. Mostly.
Oh, I see. Just from the Python. Yeah.
Yeah, from the test and use and the sample prediction request in the Python.
Cool.
Yeah, and yeah. So this is the latest code. I wouldn't use the code from the book. And as you can see, this requires you to, so some of the code samples from book or other books like Hands-on ML, it doesn't have a prefix right here. So, and that will give you an error. If you selected the regional endpoints, remember, we were talking about regional endpoints. If you specify a regional endpoint, this needs to be US Central 1 or whatever region that you selected, ML, -ML. So that this code snippet already pre-built this for you if you want to specify your region. But if the version, yeah, and if the version is none, it says, yeah, so instances is not none if the version is not none, okay. Then you have the name plus versions, otherwise the name wouldn't be that. So this is where you specify your version. And then you have a response object, okay? And you pass in the body. And this is where you store your inference data to predict. Okay, so that's that on in terms of deploying the model. Okay, so so let's delete this just so no one forgets to delete this if you are done with it. And you can redo this on your own if you choose to. All right, so hopefully in later sessions, I don't know if it's gonna be, let's see. Okay, so hopefully maybe next week we can talk a little bit. Maybe I'll be able to figure out how to directly push the model to GCP, and then I can share that, hopefully. And then we don't have to manually do this. But previously, without TFX, you would have to kind of, well, that's not true, actually. You could use gcloud, so, or programmatically push it. So I know that's possible as well. And you can set up gcloud. gcloud is the command line interface of Google Cloud platform.
Wasn't gcloud something that you would run, a Python command line, but on Colab? Only on Colab, or can you run that on just any general? Okay.
Yeah, you can do this here. gcloud SDK.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was stretching for, the SDK. Oh, and runs on your local machine.
Yeah, it can run on your local machine as well, just like AWS.
Mm-hmm.
AWS, it's just called AWS CLI, and I have this right here, AWS CLI 2.1.36. Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, Wencheng is proficient in both GCP and AWS. He is Azure, and he is cloud certified gold.
I wouldn't say gcloud yet, but like AWS.
Diamond, I would say.
Yeah, gcloud is I'm trying to pick up gcloud, but certainly AWS is something that I'm getting better and better, learning more services and stuff. Right now playing around with Kinesis streaming pipeline on AWS, and that has been pretty cool. Now, notice it says x86. That's Intel chip, okay, and that I just learned that literally. So if you have an M1 machine, it will say ARM64. So that's how you can tell like your chip type, and a lot of these packages, again, Python, pandas, NumPy, without x86, you know, on ARM64, you would have a lot of trouble and you would have to work around with it. So, all right. So gcloud is basically, you can, you know, do pretty much a lot of stuff. Probably what we just did right here. As the, I mean, I guess we just deleted that, but there were basically gcloud commands that you could run to deploy your models as well. Or, yeah.
So, Wencheng, just one thing quick. To delete the model, it says I can't delete the default. I'm just trying to figure how to.
Yeah, you would have to delete the version first. So it has.
So I'm in the versions, yeah.
Yeah, then you can delete it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it just says the version that set as default cannot be deleted. That's okay. I'll figure it out.
I was able to delete everything.
Okay.
Yeah, and the cloud storage buckets doesn't cost anything, but if you want to delete it, yeah, delete it. You know, I mean, I'm gonna leave it because it really doesn't cost much. But I'm gonna delete the version that I just created. Okay. Cloud storage, again, it's like S3 buckets, so it's not gonna cost you much at all. It's like a couple cents or something like that. All right. Cool. So that is kind of a quick run through of everything. And let's talk maybe a little more on Docker. Okay, model, my model REST API. Okay, let's see if we can find some Docker commands to run. Oops. Docker pull. Okay, so let's try to run this mount source to run this. Oops. How do I, well, I can just copy this. So I get P8500, 8500, dash P8501, 8501, mount targets. So I'm gonna try to, oops, I guess I had to delete my pipeline, shoot, for saving some space. All right, so I guess you, I mean, you guys can try to run this Docker command, but again, what this is trying to do is it's trying to serve your model within a Docker container by using this image and on port 8500. I don't know why it has two ports, but 8500. And you are able to basically predict, have inference on the model on your local machine on port 8500 served by TensorFlow serving. Yeah.
Wencheng, is the model directory the same one that we pointed to on GCP?
No. So this is local.
Oh, but I mean, is it the number of directories, the thing we pointed to for the model on AI platform? Is that the same thing, you know, within the consumer complaint pipeline directory,
Yeah,
okay.
it is. And let's see, I think next chapter, if you see it, it will show you how you can run. Yes, literally right here. You could even, if your bucket folder, so if your bucket folder is publicly available, you can even run your model like that. So literally you could just do that. And you can do that from AWS S3 as well. And yeah, this is S3 private model. This is the private model. Okay, so let's try this because I still have the cloud bucket. And this is the environment tag and Google application credentials. Home your username credentials. What is this? Mount host directory with credentials. We assume that you have saved your newly created service account credentials under, okay, credentials. This is basically mounting the directory. All right, so let's try to do this. Oops, what did I just do? So if you flip to the next chapter, this is how you can directly run your model or serve your model from your S3 bucket. Okay, I have my credentials saved right here. And I need a CD into this. Okay, so I have Docker here. Docker run P 8500, 8500. Okay, I have P tag 8501, 8501. E model is path. So again, E is the environmental variable, right? So you can specify whatever environmental variables that you want, and TensorFlow serving should be able to scan that from your Docker container. Docker containers environmental variables. Okay, equals to GCP. And let's see if we can have that. Where did I store it? Yes. Okay, cloud storage. So I still have one bucket. That's the one. Let me see, what's the configuration? Yes. This is the cloud storage URL. Bucket name, model path. Oops. Bucket name.
Wouldn't you be able to use the GS util URI? You had it right there. Under Cloud Console URL, right there.
Yeah. The book says GCP instead of GS.
Right. but it should still be the same thing. So GCP equals or.
Let me just try this model path. So consumer complaint pipeline. Complaint pipeline model path. All right, so I have that. I have my model name. Name goes to, I'm just gonna say consumer complaint and classifier. V, and that is the credential path, credential directory. Credentials here, potential file under. Okay, it has a slash, it does have a slash. And needs to be credentials slash. Okay. The environmental variable, Google, let me just copy paste this. Equals to credentials the JSON file name. This and T, tensor flow serving. All right, in case I mess this up, let's save this somewhere. Oops. All right. File system scheme, GCP not implemented.
Yeah, it's at GCP. But it's running. It's trying.
No, it just gives me the same error. Huh, I can't even terminate this. All right. So maybe it is GS instead of GCP. So let's try this again. Consumer complaints. Right. All right. So so you said GS, is that what it was?
Yeah, the GS util.
Variation GS. All right, so let's just copy this. base path JS. Consumer complaint pipeline has and yep. Driver failed programming external connector into port is already All right, so that means 8500 is being used.
You can kill the running container.
Oh, true. Yep, container S. Yep, okay. So Docker containers stop 36C. Oops. All right, great. Docker remove C96 and 36C. So, all right. So this is how you -A, and you have all 2 stopped containers. So make sure you remove the stopped containers as well. All right. So let's do this again. Do we have the GS right here? Yes. All right, so another error does not have storage objects.
That's the GS that didn't work. Because it was pointing to the storage object.
Yeah.
And GS URI did not work. That's this is failing. See, when reading metadata of GS / consumer complaint model.
So
yeah, I was wrong. I was pretty sure I'd used that before, but that was
no. Actually, this seems to be working. I just can't find base path. Anonymous caller does not have storage object can access.
I think we don't need to append the consumer complaint pipeline and the model ID to the base path. Right?
Say that again?
So if you look at the path that he's trying to construct,
yeah.
So we need to remove consumer complaint _pipeline / model ID. It will be constructed using the model name.
Yeah, that's probably.
So we added extra stuff to the base path.
Yeah, I think GS is correct actually. Mesh. All right, so it's really hard to kill this thing. Can you kill this thing? All right, I just have to shut off the terminal. And just Docker container of container stop DFC. All right, great. Docker container remove DFC. All right, so cd again into this. All right, so what do we need to change here?
We can remove model ID and consumer underscore complaint underscore pipeline from base path.
Remove.
Last two things from base path.
Remove the last two things?
Yeah, this model ID and this. So just retain the base path which was there in the GCP console.
Like this?
I think so. Yeah, and try this.
Try this.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so just try this. Yep. So now
We need to remove the trailing slash also, adding 2 slashes.
the slash as well.
Yeah.
All right. Let's
You
try
can
it.
open a new terminal and kill the container.
Yeah. Let me just do that. Container sticker container stuff is to be. All right. So back to this. And just be in this. All right. So this.
Yeah.
Try this. Yep. Yep.
Okay. Do we have this directory under the storage consumer complaint classifier? Does it exist?
No. That's why I was like, why is this model name so, model name. So maybe model name is the model version in this case.
No, I think it automatically detects that model version.
But what about this? What about this consumer
Okay.
complaint?
Can you go inside this? Can you go inside this?
Yeah.
What do we have there? Yeah. I think that name is wrong then. It should be, the model name should be consumer complaint pipeline, right?
Model name should be consumer complaint pipeline.
Yeah, classified doesn't exist, right?
All right, let's try this again. Container container stuff 45. All right. So consumer complaint pipeline. All right, so let's try this. Nope, cannot find base path. Yes.
Is it failing because of access? 401 anonymous caller. No access.
Permission denied. It says permission denied. It just says could not find path, base path.
But yeah, error is confusing. So
yeah,
not able.
All right. I mean, I'm gonna debug this offline, and I think we're getting to the time anyway. So, but this was fun. Debugging is always fun after you finish debugged it, right? So, it's not fun when you are in it, yeah. So I'm gonna try to solve this and see what's going on. But this is how you kind of use Docker, I guess, to run a model that's deployed on Google's cloud storage as well. So let's say if you want to just serve this model on the EC2 machine, on a server without using Google AI Platform, that's the way to do it, right? Just literally run this Docker run command on the EC2 machine, right? And then, have your EC2 machine exposed to, some ports, basically, right? So that's that. Any other questions at this point? This session certainly has been fun.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So I guess that's everything for today. Well, I don't know what that is, but
This sounds the streets of India.
it is. It is. Mayank, is that morning?
Yep.
Okay.
Early morning. I have been awake all night with the AWS ML summit.
Nice.
At this time, my brain is totally it's like munch. I cannot concentrate right now. But yeah, I will try to finish this up next time.
Yeah. Well, everybody go get some sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you everyone for participating in this session. I really appreciate it. Yeah, thank you, David, as well. I'm glad that we were able to debug at least that this week, so that everyone can deploy their model at least manually for now, but soon, I promise we'll be able to do this from a pipeline standpoint. All right.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Mesh, as well. Welcome back. And let's continue work on the HR project as well offline.
Yep.
With our private sessions. And Mayank, feel free to join us if you want to.
Yep.
All right.
All right.
Good night, folks. Bye-bye.
Night. Take care.
Yep. Take care.
Bye-bye.